A legal remedy is one that is decided by the court system by enforcement of legal rights resulting from a successful civil case. Legal remedies fall under three umbrellas: damages, which are usually in the form of monetary compensation that addresses the loss, injury, or pain of a party with a restitutionary measure to restore the plaintiff back to the prior to the violation. Coercive remedies that require a party to do something specific through specific performance order, and declaratory judgment, which is where the court has decided that the individual rates concerning a situation without awarding damages or specific action to be taken. Equitable remedies, however, are discretionary judgments based on the notion in the name of fairness and justice. Equitable damages are different from that of common law remedies, which are the right to receive damages. Equitable remedies are typically only given when compensatory damages would not adequately cover the loss or as an alternative to damages being awarded. There are several common types of equitable remedies, such as equitable estoppel, restitution to unjust enrichment, injunction, equitable compensation, specific performance, accounts of profit, rescission, rectification, and constructive trusts. Equity came into existence sometime during the 13th century. At this time, the courts of law had frozen the type of claims that they would hear, as well as any other procedures that govern the hearings of these claims. The king started to delegate the functions of dealing with the petitions to the chancellor. The Court of Chancery was established as a court of conscience to counteract any defects that may have existed in the common law. And as equity began to develop, it began to conflict with common law litigations. Now people were using equity to their advantage, seeking equitable injunctions prohibiting the enforcement of common law. By the 18th century, only lawyers were appointed to that of chancellor. From 1529 to present, records were finally kept. Prior to this, no records were kept, and the decisions that were made were at the discretion of the chancellor and often very erratic. At the beginning of the 19th century, the Court of Chancery had become known as the Court of Equity. The primacy of equity was enshrined by the Judicature Act of 1873, which joined together the Court of Chancery and the Court of Common Law into one court system, now known as the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court was then divided into two court systems, the High Court and the Court of Appeals. The High Court was then again divided into 5 different bodies: the Chancery Division, the King's Bench Division, the Common Pleas Division, the Equusure Division, and Probate, Divorce, and Admiralty Division. Now every court would have the ability to possess the power and duty to decide cases in line with both equity and common law. If there was ever a discrepancy between common law and equity, the equity would be paramount in the decision-making process. Although equity and common law were now fused together, allowing the court to be aware either equitable or common law to award either equitable or common law remedies, there were still some areas in which the law held distinction between legal ownership and equitable ownership. Common law remedies were available under a right, while equitable remedies are discretionary in nature. Equitable remedies are available based on behavior and position of whom is claiming the remedy. With the court taking into account the actions of the party seeking relief, they cannot decide to award equitable relief if the conduct is considered that to be depriving them of this award. There are no binding rules which provide guidance for each and every situation. Equitable remedies are intended to illustrate principles that were established in recurrent themes. The types of remedies that can be awarded include injunctions, specific performance, rectification, and rescissions. Injunctions are attempts to either stop a party from doing something or force them to finish something. Specific performance is requiring one of the parties to complete their part of the agreed upon terms. Rectification is concerned with altering the original contract, while rescission is the attempt to return the party back to the status they were in prior to entering the agreement. Under common law, the court is trying to compensate the plaintiff for financial losses incurred because of contractual agreement for wrongs done unto them. while equity is addressing the situation specifically when monetary compensation is not an appropriate remedy. So now let's discuss two Arizona court cases where equitable remedies were requested and granted. In Stertich versus Mormon, the two parties created a corporation called One Civil Center Plaza Ltd. to develop a commercial business. However, within 2 years of starting the organization, the company dissolved. The plaintiff in the case attempted to sue for monies lost during the creation and successful running of the business. However, the court decided that this could not happen. The plaintiff argued that money was owed to them because it had been promised as repayment by the defendant. However, the court stated that one party cannot sue another party within the same company because, in essence, the first party would be suing themselves. English common law states that partners cannot sue co-partners for liabilities or monies paid on behalf of the partnership because the first partner cannot be both a plaintiff and a defendant at the same time. Basically, this means that if someone were to go into business with someone else, the first party cannot sue the second party for any monies used or lost or any liabilities that incurred during the partnership, because being in the partnership makes them equal to the monies gained or lost and any liabilities that were incurred during the partnership. In another case heard in the Arizona Supreme Court, the Navajo Nation created a treaty with the United States in order to obtain and maintain land for the Navajos to reside on. An agreement was made that the Navajos were to be given 17 million acres in which to live and practice their native culture, while agreeing that the surrounding and abutting states would have access to any waterways to support the state's water needs for its people. However, the Navajo Nation, several years later, argued that under this treaty, the United States would ensure that the water needs of the Navajo people were also met, and were requesting that the United States to take affirmative action in creating a plan to secure the needs of the Navajo people. However, Arizona, Colorado, and Nevada all argued that ensuring the water needs of the Navajo tribe were not the responsibility of the states, as with the treaty between them, was that it had access to the water resources on Navajo land, and access only. Again, the Navajo nations argued that while it was not the responsibility of the states for meeting their water needs, the states were essentially depleting the water resources needed by the Navajo Nation, and the United States should take the affirmative action of creating a plan to resolve this issue. The United States Supreme Court agreed with the states by stating that the argument in the treaty was that the surrounding and abutting states would have access to water resources, but said nothing about ensuring the water needs of the Navajo people, and that the treaty could not be changed from the clear terms listed originally. The Supreme Court further advised that while the three states were not responsible for ensuring the needs of the Navajo Nation, that the President of the United States could and had previously enacted laws to assist the reservation in meeting their needs. There's a huge difference between legal and equitable remedies, but the one commonality is that they both attempt to right a wrong done to one party from another. Legal remedies are consistently and typically monetary in the type of damages awarded, while equitable damages are awarded when money cannot properly cover the damage caused. It's important to know the difference between legal and equitable remedies, as well as knowing when to ask for such in a case being held before court.